Well, hey, you guys, if you're a regular around here, then you know that I talk a lot about budgeting when it comes to building wealth, because it's one of those essential steps that you really have to take to start that wealth building journey. But if you're newer to my channel, then you may need a little bit of a hand holding while you build your first budget. Because listen, budgeting, it can be really simple, but it's also nice to have that step-by-step support when you are developing a new habit for the first time. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to share how to create your first budget in 5 simple steps. And if you have been budgeting, still stick around, because I think it's so important to rehear some of this, because you could have lost 1 or 2 steps in the process. And also make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any content coming in the future. All right, first, I want to be very transparent with you. There was a brief time that I did not like budgeting. Yeah, budgeting was probably the hardest part of this whole financial journey, if you will, for me to get on board with and actually see and enjoy it, because I'm such a spender, I'm such a free spirit, and it always felt like this, like lots of details. It felt like, oh my gosh, you can't have any fun. You can't go shopping. You have to say no to everything. The word budget almost became a cuss word. And what I realized, though, when I was actually on a trip with Winston, and he was like, don't worry about the budget. I can take care of everything on this trip. You just enjoy. That, you would have thought, would have given me such freedom. But at that point, we had been budgeting pretty consistently for a few years. And the one time that I was told, don't worry about it, you can just fly and be free, I actually found that it wasn't free. It was actually more stressful not to have a budget. So now I am a firm believer. I love a budget, because a budget really is permission to spend. And when it comes to EveryDollar, which is our budgeting app, it makes it even easier. So with EveryDollar, it is so nice and convenient, because your budget is right there on an app on your phone. And when you make transactions, you put them in, or they're plugged into your bank account and they drop in there, so you can actually see in real time what you have left, the amount of money you have left to spend in each category. And it helps you plan, and it really does give you this roadmap to your money on a daily basis, which is so key. All right, so when you get started budgeting for the first time, one of your first steps that you're going to take is to list your income. That is step 1. So I want you to think through any streams of income that are coming into your household. And if you are married, you and your spouse together are going to be doing this. So if you're both working, both incomes combined together go at the top of the budget. If you have a part-time side hustle, you're going to put that in. If you have a part-time just job, or maybe you work overtime, put that in. If you have alimony coming in or child support, put that in. Like any amount of money, again, that you have coming in, list that as income, and you're going to add everything up and know here is the number you're working towards. Then step 2 is you're going to list all of your expenses. You're going to start with your 4 walls, which is going to be food, transportation, shelter, and utilities. And so you're going to be able to mark down, these are the most important things that you have to do first. And then under that are going to be really essential things like insurance or childcare. You're going to be listing out other things that you spend money on throughout the month. And so you can look, and that could be subscriptions, that could be clothes, whatever it is, you're going to put as a category. Now, a couple of categories that you don't want to forget, first and foremost, is giving. Giving needs to be in your budget, because this is part of your money that really has to deal with your heart and your character. And so building that habit early, regardless of where you are financially, is so crucial. And also, do not forget the miscellaneous category, because there are going to be things that happen throughout the month that you forgot to budget for, and that's okay. But it's just going to drop in that miscellaneous category. It's one of my favorite categories. Stuff comes up and I'm like, oh, just drop it there, drop it there. All right, number 3 is you're going to subtract your expenses from your income. So again, your income is going to be at the top, minus all of those categories that we just talked about added together should equal 0. That means every dollar coming in is assigned to a category. So if you have money left over, which is a great problem to have, then take that. Even if it's, $38, $200, whatever it is at the top, if you have not allotted for that amount of money, then drop it in a category. You can even make your miscellaneous category bigger. It doesn't matter, but give it a name. Now, if you're in the red and you're spending more on the expenses than you have coming in, then you have to go and adjust. And you have to say, okay, maybe we try to, shave off $100 of groceries this month. And maybe we cancel these 2 subscriptions that we're not using, right? You go through all the categories and try to lower them so that you get that zero-based budget. Now, when it comes to all of this together, it is going to take maybe 1, 2, even 3 months to really get it right. There's going to be tweaking you're going to do throughout the month, and that's okay. But after 90 days, this is going to get easier. And what you're going to see as well is that each month is going to be different. So you're going to have a different budget every single month, because one month there may be a holiday that you put in a line item for that, and maybe summer and the kids have camp and you have to put a line item for that. So every month is going to look different. All right, before I share steps 4 and 5, I want to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. When you go against what society thinks is, quote, normal, like avoiding debt, for example, it might seem weird at first, and that is totally okay, because we want you to do things weird if that means you're doing things intentionally, including how you spend your healthcare dollars. And one way to be intentional is with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM isn't health insurance. They're a health cost-sharing ministry that's helped hundreds of thousands of families like yours take care of healthcare costs without sacrificing their freedom. Programs start as low as $98 a month. Find out more and join at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget. All right, number 4, when it comes to your budgets, is to track your transactions all month long. I mentioned this, that EveryDollar is such a great app because you either can put your transactions in manually, or if you have EveryDollar Premium, it's going to connect to your bank, so they will drop in automatically, and then you go and track them. And again, it is so easy. It's literally a drag and drop with your finger if you're doing it on your phone or even on a laptop. And what's great about this is in real time, you're able to keep up with these categories of what's going on. And Winston and I, we use this. Like, we will look if it's the 29th of the month. We're like, okay, we have a little bit more out to eat. So maybe we can go and, grab some food for dinner one night instead of cooking at home. Or, golly, the grocery budget, we're getting close. Okay, so what can we do? Some cheap meals. Let's do spaghetti one meal. And, you really can plan around your life and what money you have left in the budget. And this helps you stay on track as well, because a budget may sound good in theory, but when you actually practically do it, you have to stick to the budget. And so in order to do that, you have to know what is in each category. And so that's one reason tracking these transactions and keeping up with it is so helpful. And it may seem like a lot of work at first, but honestly, when you get in the rhythm of it, you can do it in just like under 15 seconds. Like, it really can be very, very fast to track those transactions, but it keeps you in control, which is what I love. All right, and number 5 is to make a budget for next month. So we just kind of mentioned this earlier, but I do want to stress how different every single month is. And especially if you are on commission, like I am, every month from your income standpoint is going to be different. And so you're going to have to adjust according to that. And so it's really key to do your budget before the month begins. So before the first of the next month, make sure you already have things planned out. And if you're using EveryDollar, it's great because it will duplicate your budget from last month. So you at least have a starting point. You're not having to start from scratch, but then go in and change, right? So this month, for instance, let's just be honest, I'm not making as much as I did last month. So I'm lowering my income. Winston has his, so we put his in. So our giving, because we give 10% of our income, will change according to what we make every month. Our savings is going to look different depending on what we're doing in life. And then from there, we're able to say, okay, what is left that we can put in these categories? And so again, looking at it every single month is key. And while again, it may seem overwhelming, it's really not. Once you get in the rhythm of this, doing the new budget, it may take you 10 minutes. Like, it really doesn't have to be this elongated thing, but it may be at first. If this is your first budget, you're going to have more time spent on this as you get used to it. But these are things that really give you the control that you can have, because there's a lot of things in our life right now, you guys, we can't control. We can't control interest rates. We can't control the inflation. We can't control grocery prices, but we can control what we do with our income. And that's why I love a budget, is because it puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. So again, if you have not downloaded EveryDollar, click the link below, because this is going to be the tool that's going to help you get in control of your money. Again, sign up for this, you guys. Put it on your phone. Create an account, because this is one of the keys of unlocking your wealth building journey. And after you create your budget, make sure to watch my episode on how to stop going over budget on groceries, because groceries are essential and they are expensive. All right, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So there are so many theories and strategies out there when it comes to handling money that are actually risky and unreliable. So today I'm going to be sharing 6 habits or traps that you should never trust. But more importantly, I'm sharing what you should do instead. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, first up is using buy now, pay later methods. These are things like Afterpay or Klarna. And whenever you are checking out now, there's always this option to be like, hey, do you want to break up this purchase in payments? And the thing is it doesn't feel like a big deal, but what that is debt. You're not paying for something in full. And so you can actually tend to overspend. And that is what they have found time and time again, is that people end up spending so much more money and overspending when using these products. So not only are you having to, pay freaking like for 4 months for a sweater when you choose this option, but also you look at the payment, you're like, oh, it's not that much. I'll add on a little bit more. I was planning on spending $70, but now it's like, oh, that's not too bad. It's only like, $15, $18. So I'll just add a little bit more. So don't do this, okay? Pay for everything in full. Do not spread out your purchases in payments. So what you want to do instead is save up and pay cash. Keep a monthly budget and understand, okay, here are my expenses. And when you save up for something, you spend it. If you need a monthly budget, that is going to help you so much to know where your money's going, because it really takes your income. And when you're budgeting, you're like, okay, where do I want my income to go? It's really you telling your money what to do. If you need a great budgeting app, check out EveryDollar because it is fantastic. All right, number 2 is opening store credit cards to get a discount. Yes, this is a trap where it's like, hey, you want to save, 10%, 15%, 20%? Well, that turns into 25% interest really, really fast, and it's not worth taking on additional debt for. So no, say no to the store credit cards. Instead, again, budgeting, saving up for things you want, and really have this mindset that you're not trading short-term moments of like, ooh, this feels good. I want to do this. It feels like I'm getting a deal for your long-term goals, right? So you're actually taking and thinking through the long-term when you're saying no to debt, even store credit cards. All right, number 3, lease a car to avoid big payments. So a lot of people do this because if you go and take out a traditional loan for a car, your payment is going to be higher than it is if you go and lease one. But leasing is basically like renting a car instead of owning it. And there's so many restrictions. Even if you want to get out of the lease, it can be very difficult. If there's too many miles on it, wear and tear on the car, like all of this stuff, it ends up being very expensive. In fact, Money Magazine talks about how leasing a car is the most expensive way to finance a car. So stay away from it. Instead, buy a reliable car, a used car, in cash. Yeah. So listen, if you have a car payment right now and you can't pay it off in 18 to 24 months, if you cannot pay off this car that you have currently with a loan on it, in less than 2 years, you need to sell it. And what you'll do, even if you're underwater, let's say you owe $30,000 and you can only sell it for $25,000. Well, go take a $10,000 loan from the bank, $5,000 to make up the difference to get rid of it, and then $5,000 to buy a used car, a crappy car, right? But at least it'll get you through. Pay that off. Pay off the loan, the $10,000 loan, and then keep saving up, and then you can move up in car slowly and gradually. Do not go and fall for the idea of leasing and even taking on debt for a car. It's just not worth it. All right, one thing I cannot live without, though, when it comes to my online safety is Delete Me. Because if you don't remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard for everyone to see, because your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names are out there on sketchy data broker websites. And those websites, those data brokers then will sell your data to other companies, and that puts you at risk for scams and fraud. But the good news is Delete Me removes your data and helps protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I use and love Delete Me because it saves us so much time and worry. So you guys, your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or you can click the link in the description. All right, another bad habit. Number 4 is only making minimum payments to keep cash flow open. So this is a trap because you're actually paying thousands more than what you actually owe because of interest. But a lot of people will say, well, I need this cash flow over here. And so if my debt is there, I'll just keep the minimum payment going and it's no big deal. But the amount of interest that is on credit cards now, you guys, it is so high. I feel like it keeps getting up and up and up and up. And you're continuing to pay for stuff that you've already done and already experienced and food you already ate and all the things. So looking and saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to get out of debt as quickly as possible. So you want $1,000 in the bank. That's going to be your starter emergency fund. And then you're going to start paying off all of your debt, including those credit cards from smallest to largest. And that is going to help get you out of debt quickly and get out of this minimum payment cycle. So you will pay minimum payments for some of the debt while you're paying off the smallest. But man, once you get to it, you keep knocking it off because I want you debt free, including those minimum payments. All right, number 5 is skip insurance to save money. So one emergency room visit or car wreck or a home repair can honestly wipe you out financially. And so knowing that things are going to happen in life and you don't want to completely derail your financial progress, you want the right insurance in place. The Ramsey Coverage Checkup will walk you through a process to know exactly what insurances that you need. Because yes, you also don't want to pay for insurances you don't need. And some out there are a scam and you end up wasting so much money on them and you don't even need them. So the idea is getting the insurance that you actually need, but to see what you need, I'll put a link down below and check that out to go through kind of your life and knowing, okay, are we fully covered? Do we have everything that we need when it comes to insurances? Because life is expensive and insurance, it's great because it's there when something happens. All right, number 6 is invest in trendy, get-rich-quick schemes. So there are so many things out there, you guys, and it's not even like ones that are recent. Like there's other ones that they're just not great. Like I was talking to a guy, he's like, I'm investing in gold. I'm like, don't invest in a commodity because it goes up and down depending on the fear of what's going on in the culture. No, invest and put your money in something that has a long-term track record. So even things like gold, crypto, and I would say even single stocks in this because it can be very, very risky. So the thing is you want something that is pretty much bulletproof for the long haul, and that is going to be putting it in the market. I mean, so whether it's an index fund or a mutual fund, but putting something that you can see long term, it's going to be great, right? There may be dips for sure, but long term, it keeps going up, and that is what we want. And so contributing 15% of your income into retirement, so this is things like a Roth IRA or your 401k, be doing this after you are out of debt. And it is boring. It is not exciting. It is not flashy. But man, can I just tell you, it works. It works every time. Talk to a couple that's been doing it. You know, they're 60 years old and they've been doing it since they were 25. They will retire millionaires. Like they will. If you consistently invest, you guys, especially 15% of your income, it is amazing what can happen over the long term. But it's not get rich quick. It's not flashy, not exciting, but your wealth will grow. All right, when it comes to financial traps, some are more obvious than others. So to steer clear of one of the biggest and worst money traps, check out the $1 billion scheme you didn't know you were a part of. Click here to watch it, or if you're listening on podcast, I'll leave a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So one question a lot of couples and families are wrestling with is it better to have 2 incomes and pay for childcare or have one parent stay home? So if you are considering this in your home, here are 5 questions that can help you make that decision. And stay tuned because at the end, I'll be sharing my biggest working parent lesson that I have learned in 10 years of being a mom. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, first, before I share the 5 questions, there's kind of this invisible step that's really crucial, and that is to know your why. Why are you wanting to stay home? Why are you wanting to go back to work? Why are you thinking about going part-time? Like understanding what is going on inside of you and your motivations for the answers to those questions are really important. So there is a level of kind of self-reflection I want you to have that I think is really key in this overarching concept, right? Because if your answer is, oh God, I feel like I should go back to work because if not, like we're gonna have to limit our lifestyle and I don't want to limit my lifestyle and that makes me nervous and there's a lot of fear there. Okay, well, let's tap into that. Like start digging through the layers of why. Or maybe I feel like I need to go home because that's what a good mom does. And that's what society's telling me, in my part of the country, that's what I should be doing. Well, dig more into that, right? So understanding the answer to that question is going to kind of help you flesh out and get to a healthier perspective that's really important to have. All right. The first question is, it's kind of hypothetical, but which budget makes the most sense? So what I want you to do is I want you to create a couple of mock budgets for your household. So first, I would say total your income if you're both working, okay? You're both going to work after maternity leave, and then list out all of your expenses, which will include childcare, and see how that feels. Is it like, oh gosh, I'm gonna be paying for more gas because the child care place that I want is like across town. How much is child care? Like, oh my gosh, like list all that out and kind of just see, okay, how does that feel? And then do another budget and say, okay, what if I don't work? What if I do stay home full time after kids? And there's one income, no child care expenses, but how does that feel? If I eliminate one entire income, like, is that possible? Could we still live on that? Even, maybe we have to make tweaks to make it work, but those tweaks are worth it because it's what we want to do. That's great. And then make a third one that, like, if you work part-time, there's so many jobs right now that even working from home, 20 hours a week you can do. So make a third and just kind of get a glimpse of what the reality is, because I think emotions can drive stuff so quickly when it comes to these decisions, especially when we're talking about our kids. And if you're a first-time mom, especially that you have the baby, like, it's a lot. It is a lot. And so getting some facts and some numbers is going to help you see the reality, because you may look and be like, okay, this makes no sense. Like, maybe literally one income is going to pay for childcare because childcare is so expensive and that's not worth it. Or maybe you say, there's no way we can live where we live with the friends and the family, the community where we live with just one income. And we're not willing to budge that because that part of our life is high value to us. So we are going to have two incomes, right? So you may actually start to see an answer come in one of those three budgets. All right, number 2 is, can you cut non-essential expenses and earn partial income from home? So when we're looking at the budgets and you're saying, okay, if there is one that you say, we're going to have one income and we're going to have to cut some expenses. So look at that and be realistic about it, because if your desire is to be home, you want to figure out a way to do that. And for some people, that desire is so strong that they are willing to move. They're willing to do other things, make really big decisions for that value system of their family, which is great. But there probably will have to be some things that are cut, because for most people, if you're used to living on two incomes, you have built a life and a lifestyle around those two incomes, which is great. But if one of those gets taken away, you have to decide, okay, can we live on this? And then you can even say, hey, if I do something, a side hustle or something part-time to provide a cushion, does that allow me to still get at what I want, to be able to be home more, maybe with 1 or 2 days of childcare versus 5 days, and we can still do it with our expenses. But be looking to see, okay, from an income side and an expense side, where can we up, lower these things to make the numbers work? Number 3 is, would staying home or going back to work affect quality of life and mental health? So here's what I love about us as people. We are all so uniquely wired. We really are. So I have friends in my life that I talk to, and they are 100% like, I have to be home. If I go to work and I drop my baby off, I am more stressed doing that than cutting expenses and living on one income. Like, I want to be home. And that is like full blood who they are. They love it. It's what they want. It's what they desire, which is beautiful and great. So do it. Or I have other friends and they're like, if I don't go back to work, I'm going to be crazy. And people would say, again, I feel like some of this is controversial, either way you look at it. But some of my friends are like, I'm a better mom because I have a break. Like, there's some of that space, and I actually can be way more present and way more involved, because I think I may go into depression if I am home all day, right? So who you are, you need to know that about yourself. So as you're making this decision, make sure you know yourself well enough, and to know, like, things can change if they need to, but that peace of mind for you to be a healthy individual is so important. And obviously we're looking out for the good of our kids and the family unit for sure. So you need to factor in all of these things, right? You've chosen to get married, have babies, like all of it. So like, there's so many factors at play, but for you and yourself, like, take a moment and just say, okay, what is my gut reaction on how I'm wired, how I'm created? All right, before I share more questions to ask and my number 1 tip after 10 years of parenting, I do want to tell you about our sponsor, Delete Me. If you don't remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like it's on a billboard because your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names are out there on sketchy data broker websites. And those data brokers then sell your data, and it puts you at risk for scams and fraud. But the good news is that Delete Me removes your data to help protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I use Delete Me, and it has saved us so much time and worry. You guys, you and your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or just click the link in the description. All right, number 4, a good question to ask yourself is, are you debt-free? Now, this is not something that I would say if you're not debt-free, then you can't stay at home. You have to go back to work. No. When it comes to kids and marriage and all the things, like regardless of where you are financially, do what is best for you because you can figure it out beyond that. You really can. But I will say too, there is something realistic about if you don't have payments, and if you didn't have 2 $600 car payments, and you didn't have an $11,000 credit card bill, and you didn't have, a few $100s going out to student loan debt every month, like if you had cut all those down, all that money, and put it back in your budget, there may be a better chance that mathematically you could stay at home, because that could be literally $1,000, $2,000 going out in payments every month that could be back to you if you were debt free. So we do talk to a lot of couples that are like, hey, I am going to work, and the goal is in 2.5 years, we're debt free. And then that's one of their goals is once I become debt free, I'm going to go and stay at home, because mathematically we're able to, but also the stress of carrying around debt isn't there anymore. And there is so much freedom to make decisions. So again, I'm not saying that if you're not debt free, you can't stay home. Okay. Yes, your debt free journey may be a little bit longer on one income, and that's okay. But just knowing, again, that if you don't have payments, that's money back, which may give you more margin and more breathing room. Number 5, do you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund saved? Because again, we are looking for peace here. And if you don't have debt and you have some money in the bank, just in case something happens, that gives you way more peace of mind. Because the hard thing is, and I've talked to people like this, that, they go and they stay home full time, but financially it's kind of a disaster. And they have tons of debt. They have no savings. And the whole thing just ends up being more stressful. And they're like, I can't do anything. Like, I want to go to the zoo, or like, I want to do things with my kids, but we have no money. I can't do anything. And they're like, oh, I wish we were in a better place financially. So maybe it is one of those moments that you're like, yeah, maybe I work for a season until we get to a good place, and then I can come home and have more peace. But I always say that, like, getting control of your money and creating a life around your money is all about peace. Like, what is going to give you the most peace? Because that is so crucial. All right. One of the biggest lessons, though, I've learned as a working mom is that seasons change. Okay. Kids grow up, they start school, they move out. Your job is going to change. Your spouse's job is probably going to change. Your friendships are going to change. Community evolves. Your extended family dynamics are going to change. Like, nothing in life is permanent. So if you're making a decision during the season of life, just let me remind you, you can make a different decision later. Like, what you're doing is not set in stone. It's not. And so there may be a season that, again, challenging, but you're like, this is where I feel like I need to be. That's great. Then go be there, whether it's at work or at home. Then you could look up 6 months later, 9 months later, 2 years later, and you're like, all right, things are changing. I kind of think I'm going to shift this way, right? Like, you have that ability. It's wild. I dropped Charles off at his last day of preschool. This was about 2 months ago, because he's starting kindergarten in the fall. And I boohooed, y'all. I got so emotional. I was not expecting it. I'm not really a crier. And I was hugging the director. I mean, everyone. I was just like, oh my God, this is the last drop off of it. Because what hit me, I told Winston, I was like, I kind of felt out of control, because everything in our lives, we have decisions over. Like, you get to decide and choose, like, the job that you have, the house you live in, the church you go to. Like, as adults, we get to make decisions in our life. But time is the only thing that forces us to make decisions, right? It's pretty wild. Like, it's like, I don't have a decision in this. Like, it's happening. Life is going. And it's kind of this bizarre thing. So just remember, like, time is going to keep moving forward. And because of that, it may force some certain decisions in your life, but it also gives you the ability to know you can make other decisions. So just know you have a lot of control over your life. You're able to make decisions on what creates the most peace for you. And I implore you to do it. And if the decision is wrong and it doesn't create peace and you want to make a different decision, you can. Now, if you desperately need some ideas of maybe how to earn extra income because maybe you do want to stay home, check out 7 creative side hustles for an extra $1,000 a month. You can click there to watch, or if you're listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So today we're going to go back in time. We're going to have a little story time with Rachel because I thought it would be really interesting to talk through kind of the history, the backstory of the Ramsey baby steps. We talk about the baby steps so much on this show because it really is the plan that we use, the filter we use when it comes to talking about your money on a really tactical level. Now, if you've not heard of the Ramsey baby steps, there's 7 steps that are the basics of personal finance that you do in order, everything from paying off debt to saving, investing, kids' college, paying your house off, all of it. So if you've ever wondered like where they came from, again, we're going to kind of just give you a little deep dive into it because I think it does give you some perspective. And it's interesting too that these steps have stayed the same pretty much since the beginning. So this all started back in 1988 when Dave and Sharon Ramsey filed for bankruptcy. Dun, dun, dun. So long story short, Dad was in real estate, was doing flips. So he would, take money from the bank, do a flip, make more on it, pay off the loan, have money, go get another loan, do the same thing. But he was doing that like 20, 30 properties at a time. And then what can happen, it doesn't happen often, but it did. One bank can look down and say, wow, this guy has a lot of debt out and he's young, feels like a lot of risk. We just want all of our money back. So they do a thing called, they call your notes. And that's what happened. So it took about 90 days and it was to pay back like, I don't know, millions, $1 point something million in debt. That was all tied up in real estate. So he had to go and try to sell real estate. When you try to sell real estate fast, because you're in a pinch, like old Davey was, then you sell it usually for cheaper. And you got to get it through quick. And so there wasn't enough money coming in after it was selling that to pay the bank off. So basically what had to happen was a lot of these properties got foreclosed on and he had to file for bankruptcy. So when that happened, at the very bottom of everything, I was a baby at the time. My sister was a toddler. It was kind of this like moment of realizing, wow, I thought I knew what I was doing when it comes to money. I thought I was being smart. And obviously my plan didn't work. So what really is this thing with money? Like, how do I really get myself in a position that I can be successful, but do it the right way? And then at the same time, people were coming to him being like, hey, we're in trouble and we may have to file for bankruptcy. Can you walk us through it? What did that look like? How are you doing now? And then he slowly but surely, really organically started coaching people when it came to the subject of money and people that were struggling. And so that compounded and compounded. And then he wrote a book and then got a radio show on this broke radio station here in Nashville. And then, it just kind of kept building and realizing there was such a need out there for people that were struggling with this subject in life, which is money. But while he was coaching people, he realized that some of it, wasn't clicking because people, were paying off all of their debts, at the same time, trying to like attack all of them. And then something would happen and their car would break down or their roof would leak. And then suddenly they got a big bill and they were back in debt. And so it was kind of this light bulb moment that went off where he was like, okay, I need to like rethink some of this and how this really works. And if you don't have money saved and something happens, because things will happen, you go right back to the bottom again, back into debt. So that is when these steps started to form. And that's when baby step 1 was born. And that is to save $1,000 emergency fund. And establishing that safety net is really, really key. And that $1,000, you guys, has not changed since then. And with inflation, cost of living, everything, it hasn't changed because in one sense, it's not so much about the dollar amount. It really is about the behavior that is changing. And so he wanted this step to be one that you could do really quickly. I mean, if you sell stuff, you work extra, you do what you can, you cut things out. I mean, to get $1,000, you want to get a quick win because so much about money is behavior change. And if you don't have a quick win, it's easier, more than ever to fall off the train. So to get that quick win, it was really key. And then over time, it's like, okay, for most things, it's not $1,000, most emergencies, things that don't have to be put off. Now, if something big happens, you obviously pause everything and work on that emergency. But that quick win was really the basis for the $1,000. And that's why that amount hasn't changed. So the $1,000 emergency fund was there. And then that's when you started paying off debt and realizing again that this was all behaviorally based. So paying off the smallest debt first was key. And so if you hear about the debt snowball, it is not about the highest interest rate. It's not about math. It's really about paying off that smallest debt first, because that quick win was what was really, really important. So if you're on that step, we tell you to list out all of your debts, smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate. Pay minimum payments on everything, stay current, but pay off that smallest bill first. And studies have been done, like from Harvard and all these places, between the debt snowball, which is that way, versus the debt avalanche, which is paying off the highest interest rate first. And studies are showing more and more that you pay off faster all of your debt using the debt snowball method, because there is something about the momentum that occurs in the human spirit that is so, so important. So that's what occurred in baby step 2. Now, one subscription that's much more affordable and so worth it is Delete Me. This is one of my favorite services, you guys, because Delete Me goes in and removes your online information from data broker websites. Because you don't realize it, but there's companies out there that will collect your data and then they sell your data. They make money off of your information. And then you get spammers and scammers, like all the things, and it's exhausting and annoying. So Delete Me does what they say. They delete you from the internet, and we love that. So you can get 20% off an annual plan at joindeleteme.com/Rachel or click the link in the description. And then once all your debt's paid off, then you have all this free income to be able to say, hey, I can take this income and I can save up, which is baby step 3 to 6 months of expenses. And this is a really important part of the process, because having cash on hand for big expenses and even big things that happen in life, from health to losing a job, it's really powerful to say, gosh, I have money in the bank that can keep my family afloat. And the stress when something big happens just isn't there. It's more of an inconvenience than a stress point. So that baby step 3 was big. So then once that fully funded emergency fund is there, then you move on to baby step 3B. And this one actually came a little later in the history of the baby steps. So we kind of added this as an asterisk, because people were like, okay, great, I don't have debt, I have an emergency fund, but I need to buy a house. So when do I do that in this process? And you don't want to buy a house when you're deeply in debt. You don't want to buy a house when you don't have an emergency fund. So we call this baby step 3B, where you save up a down payment on a home. So that's kind of the asterisk there. And then once you do that, then you move on to baby step 4. So you're going to invest 15% of your income into retirement. So this is 401ks, Roth IRAs, 403Bs. And we say to pause investing while you're doing the first 3 baby steps, because again, it's this focused intensity that we found you get progress. You make progress so much faster when you do that. And when you get to baby step 4, you can invest 15% of your income, where a lot of people that are investing in retirement are investing like 4 to 5% of their income. So you really get to bulk up and you'll catch up for sure, and actually have the income to do it, and it's sustainable. And then once you're doing that, you're going to do baby step 5 at the same time. So after you fund your retirement, then kids' college is next. So if you have kids, saving up in a 529 or an ESA and looking into options for your kids' college to prep for them to go to school if you can. And then anything extra is baby step 6, where you pay off the house early. And we're finding people are paying off their homes from like 9 to 11 years on average, which is pretty awesome. So there's something powerful about seeing people do the baby steps, because it's been around for so long that we're seeing people on the baby steps 6 and 7, parts of this plan, which is great, because it does take a while, right? I mean, some of this, it's going to take years for some of these steps to happen. But that's the great thing, is we're seeing people do it in real time, and it's happening, and it's just a really amazing thing. So paying off your house, it's an option, which is crazy, and we're seeing people do it. And then once you do that, no house payment, nothing, then you're on to baby step 7, and that's to build wealth and be generous. And so you continue to invest your income and continue to up your giving, because giving should be a part of your plan, regardless of what baby step you're on. But especially on baby step 7, you're able to give so much of your income away, so much of what you're making, because you don't have any other payments. And that's when you really, really get to make a big dent into that part, which is just a beautiful thing. So again, the baby steps, it is the plan, you guys, that I think has been so effective, because it's a plan. And I think we've learned this a lot in the way you build habits and psychology and sociology. Like you pair all these parts of life together and see how we interact towards parts of our lives. And when you give people a step and a clear plan, a clear path, they're much more effective, and they're actually probably going to do it more than just principles and ideas. And so that's one of the powerful things about the baby steps is as you see the finish line, which is an amazing thing. So another great part of this entire puzzle, if you will, when it comes to the baby steps and Ramsey Solutions, is one thing that I love is that it came out of failure. Like it came out of big money mistakes that were made to the point of bankruptcy. And so what I also think is that it gives hope, because when you are so honest about where you are and yet you're changing for the better and you're actually have a plan that gives you hope, that is something to stick to. And so not only did Dave do that, hopefully I show you along the way the humanity of which I live and the imperfections that happen. But I would also encourage you that if you have been a listener for a while or you have been watching this stuff and you're applied this, share your mistakes with people. I think it really resonates with people when in the struggle and in the hurt, the times that it's like, gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. That's where people relate. And so if that's part of your story, dive into that, because again, I think that's where a lot of redemption can happen for other people, because people change people. And so you could be part of that change. So that's one reason, again, at Ramsey, we're so passionate about helping people, is because money does create a lot of pain. It does create a lot of shame. But when you can give someone hope and a plan, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I just love that at the end of the day, it's a plan that gives people freedom and autonomy over their life and their money. It's really an incredible thing. So no matter where you are on the baby steps, continue to push forward towards your financial journey, one step at a time, because life is this, okay? There are going to be ups and downs for sure, and we've all experienced that. But keep moving forward. You have got this. Now, if you want to hear even more about the wealth building process, I have a great video with Dave about using the baby steps to become a millionaire. So check that out. All right, you guys, as always, make sure to take control of your money and create a life you love. Hey, listen, it can be tough to build wealth in 2025, but don't let that frustration put you out of the driver's seat and sitting in the passenger seat and just be like, whatever happens, happens. No, you can actually direct where you and your money go in the future. So if you want to know what I mean by all of this, keep watching, because today we're going to talk about 5 of the most toxic and unhelpful lies that people believe when it comes to their financial situation. So let me know in the comments which ones really hit home for you, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. All right, lie number 1. You ready? Is my situation will never change. So sometimes if you are in a place in life where there doesn't feel like there's a lot of hope, and it's like, oh my gosh, like maybe it's a dead end job you feel like you're in. Maybe you feel like financially you just haven't made any headwinds like in the last few years, and you're just like sitting there thinking, this is how my life is going to be. I just want to encourage you, over time, life is going to change, and in a good way, right? So you have the ability to make decisions in your life. And so things like a job, for instance, maybe you stay in a job for a while and you do great and you keep getting promoted and you keep getting raises, and your income slowly does go up over time. And so maybe that's a beautiful thing. Or maybe you end up quitting the job that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so miserable here. And you go find something that you're actually really passionate about doing. Normally, you will earn more money doing that thing that you're excited about. And so there's something about the income that does move over time. So feel hope in that. And then also know in your life, people and situations are going to change, and especially the people in your life. And that is where so many opportunities open up in life. And so whether that is deep friendships, maybe that's a romantic relationship, like whatever it may be from work and on, there's something about having people in your life that are different from season to season. That's a really beautiful thing that brings you different kinds of encouragement, brings you different opportunities even in life. And so remember, things in life are constantly shifting. So whether it's the job you have, it's the economy, the people in your life, things are going to change. So your life is not stuck where you are today. It will evolve over time. Lie number 2, my family just isn't rich or good with money. Listen, in Ramsey's national study of millionaires conducted a few years ago, we found that 79% of millionaires are first generation wealthy. Can you believe that? Okay, 8 out of 10, which is incredible, which shows you the majority of people that are wealthy in America today did not inherit their money. They did it by making wise decisions. And again, when I'm talking about wealth, I'm meaning that you have the ability to have $1 million net worth. I would consider that like doing real good. That can include equity in your home, retirement funds, all of that. But there's margin, there's breathing room. Like there's something beautiful about that. And that happens over decisions that are made month after month, year after year, decade after decade. It does not happen overnight, and it's not flashy and exciting. But let me tell you, the stability that can come with this idea of being in control of your money is a beautiful one. And you have the ability to make that decision. So regardless of what your parents have done or not done, you have the ability to make different decisions with your money today. All right, lie number 3 is I can't reach that goal until I'm married or have a spouse's income. So this is a real thing because having 2 incomes in our world today mathematically advances you for sure, right? You're running a household. Now you have 2 people working. You get to work with 2 different incomes. Like you are going to probably build wealth faster. And studies do find married couples tend to build wealth faster. And that makes sense because there's 2 incomes usually coming in. We live in a world today where a 2-income household is very, very common. But what I want you to know is if you are single, if you don't have the 2 incomes, or even if you are married, but your spouse is at home and you just have that one, you still have the ability to build wealth. And there's really a beautiful thing, especially if you're single. You don't have someone else that could be like pulling you down, right? Like, I mean, we talk to a lot of people at Ramsey and their spouses are not on board. They're out spending and they're trying to like be wise with money. And like, it's just a hard thing to do catch up when both people are not on board. And so there's something about having this autonomy where I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing in a sense that like, it's all up to you. But that's the great thing is it's up to you, which is wonderful. Now, if you are married and you still have one income because one spouse is home, just know that it may take you a little bit longer, but that's a decision that you guys have made as a family. And that value system is what's going to bring a level of depth to your life because you're living out of your values, which is a really beautiful thing. So remember, whether you're single, just know, I know single people that are buying houses, they're paying off student loans, they're starting businesses, like they're doing incredible things. And so are people that are married that have one income. So don't just have this belief that we need 2 incomes to win. You don't. Money lie number 4 and 5 are some of the most important beliefs to untangle. But first, I have to tell you about a subscription service that completely untangled my personal info from creepy corners of the internet. You guys, you have to check out Delete Me, because if you do not remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard out there with your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names are out there. And sketchy data broker websites will collect your data, then they sell it to other sketchy companies, and then you're at risk for scams and fraud, and it is not fun. So the good news is that Delete Me goes in and removes your data to help protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I, we use Delete Me, and it saves us so much time and worry. So you guys, your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly costs to under $9. So click the link in the description. All right, lie number 4 is I'm not good with money because of my money tendencies. So I hear this a lot, that people have like these tendencies of like, I'm a spender, so I'm always going to be spending. Or maybe I don't like doing a budget and I feel tied down and I don't want to do a budget. Or maybe on the other end, people are like, oh my gosh, my money tendencies. I mean, maybe I'm a saver and I end up hoarding money because I don't want to spend it. And I'm actually more miserable doing this than feeling the freedom of not having all of this. Like, right. So I hear people from every level of different money tendencies. And let me just tell you, your unique money tendencies, yes, they are you. Okay. There's something wired within you that is beautiful and wonderful and great. And I want you to lean in those because those are who you are. But also they cannot be an excuse for you to be irresponsible with money. Okay. I think about the Enneagram. It's like one of my favorite kind of personality, I don't know. I don't even know what you call it, but it basically diagnosis is what it feels like. But people will take that as an excuse and they're like, sorry, I'm just so mean. I'm an Enneagram 8. And I'm like, no, you're just a jerk. It's not because you're an Enneagram 8 or like, I'm so late. I'm a 4. So I'm always just so late. No, like you have to be a responsible human being, right? So we cannot let it be an excuse. We have to see and correct as adults and be mature in social situations and in life. Like that is part of growing up. But also remember that uniqueness within you has its strengths. So leaning on those is great. But this whole like, I'm going to just surrender to the fact that I can never be great with money because my personality just doesn't lean to it. then you really are going to be miserable your whole life, because I think that mindset creeps into other areas where it ends up being an excuse. And so there is a part of like, hey, let's all be a grown up, because I'm a spender. I'm a free spirit. I get it. Totally get it. But if I just spent and never took control of my money, I think I would be a ball of anxiety and stress. And I really think I can temper that down with having a level of a plan and control and saying no to myself when I need to. Like, that is a healthy balance. So always remember, there's a healthy balance in all of the money tendencies. All right, lie number 5 is my money won't change until the economy does. So I've heard this one a lot. I mean, there's been, so much about inflation, interest rates are high, gas prices are high, grocery bills are high, housing is high. Like, so much feels like a lot in the past few years, especially if you are even more of a Gen Zer and you're like entering the workforce and you're like trying to do this really well. And it's like everything is just so expensive. And it's easy to blame the economy on it because there's some truth to it, right? Like, it is more expensive. But also, if you sit back and let that excuse hold you back and causes you not to move forward and have any level of action, then you're going to be where you are. Okay. So there is something to be said of, yes, this is a truth. Things are more expensive than they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. And that sucks. Like, I don't like that. So what does that mean now for me? What do I have to do with that? And so maybe it is tempering expectations. Maybe it is, yeah, I'm gonna have to work a side hustle for a little bit to pay off this debt. Maybe it means, understanding that, okay, I'm gonna have to cut back on where I shop, and I can't shop at the fancy organic grocery store. I have to, go somewhere that's less expensive, but still has great food, like Aldi, for instance, right? Like there are things that you have to make decisions about that counteract what's going on in the economy. But if you just sit there and stay in the excuse of, well, it's just the economy and that's what it is. And a lot of people are there, because I scroll on Instagram reels and I see people that just sit there and complain about it. And I get it. It sucks. So I think acknowledging that, but also if you stay in that, you're not going to move forward. So you have to build a whole new set of different expectations and values around your money to counteract what's going on in the economy. And that's actually a really beautiful thing, because if you have that flexibility within you to make different decisions, and then let's say the economy's great and like inflation's really low and interest rates are really low and all this, then you're going to be like way ahead of the game, because I think you have tempered a really hard economy. And when it goes well, that's what's going to be magnified in you, which is a really beautiful thing. All right, listen, if you are fired up and ready to change, then there is a ways to do this, you guys. Okay, so a couple of things to think about. Number 1, doing a budget. If you have not downloaded EveryDollar, it's a free budgeting app. It's amazing. So I'll put a link down below, but this is a way to really get in control of your money and start with some of these lies to kind of putting it on paper and actually seeing it visibly, like on your phone, and visually seeing what's going on with your money can actually combat some of those lies, because facts are your friends, especially if you feel like you're in a hopeless situation. Getting the facts is really, really important. And then also who you are around. Remember, the people around you and surrounding you and the voices that are speaking into your life are really, really important. So always remember that. And also, if you want to make sure that you're doing this the right way, make sure to check out the episode, The Worst Ways to Pay Off Debt, especially if you're paying off debt. Click here and I explain everything about it. Or if you're listening on podcast, I'll put a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. This stat shocked me recently that 44% of Gen Z and millennials have skipped major social events because of the cost. Now, that kind of can seem drastic, but also very relatable. So let's talk about the cost of friendship and where we need to draw some boundaries when it comes to our money and relationships so that we can all thrive. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. So I know we all feel this. The older you get, it feels like you get out of college and then all the events start happening around life, whether it's birthday parties, showers, bachelorette parties, you name it, it's happening. And on average, people can spend up to $250 every single month on social activities alone. And what's crazy is that makes sense, right? If you're going to like go to a concert with friends, if you're going to go out to dinner and drinks, like things add up. And what's wild to me now as a parent is now our kids' social activities are now becoming a thing, to the point that like they get invited to birthday parties, which is so great and so sweet. But sometimes, it's a friend that maybe we were in class with like 2 years ago or whatever. And it gets to be a lot, whether it's buying gifts for everyone, even going to things. And so even recently, Winston and I, this summer, we were like, we got to just kind of like draw a line on the kids' birthday party thing, because we got 3 kids, and if they're all invited, they could have like 2 a weekend, and it's wild. And so Even putting a boundary up there just reminded me of just how expensive social activities are. So if this is a pain point for you, just the idea that having friendships in general is costing a lot of money, here are 5 things to remember. Number 1, the event doesn't create the friendship. So whether it is the birthday parties or the showers or the weddings, these are exciting things in life. And yes, we want to be a part of them. We want to celebrate our friends, the relationship that we have with them, is fun when you experience something together. Absolutely. But also that relationship existed before this specific event that you're thinking about. So maybe you're struggling with a wedding and it is, a destination wedding and you're like, I can't afford to go there. Maybe it is a shower for your best friend who's getting married, but you got to travel and you're like, I don't have time or money to be able to do that. Like whatever it looks like, just remember your relationship existed before this event. And hopefully if it's a friendship that actually has some depth and meaning and maturity, if you're not able to attend the event, it's going to be okay. Sure, we're all going to be sad and disappointed. We all want to be there for everything, but that's the reality is we can't. All right, number 2, clarify obligations ahead of time by being intentional. So if you know that you can't do or buy everything, then think through and even ask your friend directly which event matters most to them. I was talking to a friend and one of her friends is getting married and she's like, yeah, I'm like one of her close friends, but she has 3 different showers in 3 different cities. Then you have the bachelorette party, then you have the wedding. And she's like, I can't do it all. I can't make it all. And so talking to her and be like, hey, what is like the top 2 things? Obviously the wedding you want me to be at, but I can be at the bachelorette party. But is there like one of the showers that you really want me at, right? Communicate and talk to the person about it. And maybe you're not able to bring a gift to every event. Maybe your time is open, you're able to be there, but you're not able to buy a gift for everything. So that's okay. Maybe just choose one gift for one of the things that is socially totally acceptable, or maybe go in for a group gift if you want to do that as well. But whatever you can, communicate on the front end, the better. Number 3, you can't say yes to everything. And again, sometimes it feels easier just to be like, yes, absolutely. But being an adult, we have to learn how to say no and say no gracefully. And again, your character and who you are is not defined by your calendar. So if you look and you're like, oh my gosh, I have all these things to do and I'm going to stay busy all the time and it's so great. Over time, you're going to be exhausted. Like if you don't learn to put boundaries up and say no sometimes, whether that is because you just want to stay busy, maybe there's a little people pleaser in you, I don't know. But I just want you to know, growing up means sometimes saying no to things that maybe you want to, but you can't afford or your time doesn't allow you to. And that is okay. I want to give you permission to know you can't be everywhere for everyone all the time. All right, before I share more, I do want to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. More than 100 million Americans carry medical debt, which shows traditional coverage often leaves people to face big bills alone. So families need more than just coverage. They need community. And that is why I love Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a budget-friendly, faith-based alternative to health insurance, and they've paid over $12 billion in medical bills. Now that is faith in action. With CHM, there are no networks, no insurance headaches. Y'all, CHM is where your faith and your finances agree. So go to chministries.org/budget to learn more today. So I can't wait to tell you about one of our new sponsors, Minnow. Now, we all want our kids watching shows that are fun and safe for them. And that is why I'm so excited about Minnow. It has tons of shows that your family will love, especially The Chosen Adventures, a new show from the creators of The Chosen. So it follows a girl named Abby as she has adventures and makes new friends and even meets Jesus. It is just so good. And as a mom, I don't have to worry because Minnow is ad-free and full of biblical truth. So start your free 7-day trial today at gominnow.com and use promo code Rachel for an additional $10 off an annual plan. That's gominnow.com, code Rachel. All right, number 4. So sometimes you can give your time and you can go to the thing, but you don't have a lot of money. So again, get the extravagant gift. But other times, maybe you can actually work a gift into the budget, but you choose to protect your weekend. So maybe there's like, another party, another shower, whatever it is. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to take up my whole Saturday to go here. And they're not even that great of a friend. So maybe you're able just to send the gift, ship the gifts, but you're not able to actually go to the event. So again, communicating is big around all of this, but you want to keep it clean, meaning you want to know where you're at time, money, all of it together. And your budget helps you actually do that. If you've not downloaded Every Dollar, make sure to do that because it is my go-to when it comes to budgeting. So you're able to actually look and see, okay, what can I afford and what can I not? And that sometimes is your answer. All right, last but not least, number 5, there is no perfection in social obligations. So listen, we're all gonna make mistakes around this. We are sometimes gonna go to something and regret it and be like, why did I do this? I shouldn't have done this. I should have said no. Sometimes you'll skip something and say, I can't do it. And you're like, nope, I'm gonna protect my time. And then when it's over, you're like, man, I wish we had done this. So again, we're not gonna be perfect at this. We're going to make mistakes. Now, thinking through also the specific friend, like, will this friend be offended? Like, right? Will they really want to see you there? Like, I don't know. Some friends are pretty chill about it. Some can be a little bit more high maintenance. And I don't know if that changes your response to that, but be thinking through even the relationship. Okay, adulting, y'all. Woo! It can cost a lot sometimes, but I just want to give you the permission to say no when you need to and to know we're not going to be perfect at all of this and we can't do everything. And trust me, you are not alone in these kind of struggles, which is why I definitely want you to watch my episode. Every mom struggles with this and no one talks about it. Coming up right here, or if you're on podcasts, you can click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.